Last week we had a few mental health, mental related stuff. One of them was fear or anxiety. So today we're just going to take one little part of the anxiety thing, and we're talking about phobias. So phobia is linked to anxiety, but it's a bit different. So fear is explained as a normal response to genuine danger. So that's fear. Fear is a normal response. So that's our normal, the way we act, the way we... Phobia is a marked and persistent fear that is excessive and unreasonable. It's cued by the presence or anticipation of a specific object or situation. So, with a fear is we're scared of something, maybe something that can be life-threatening, something that can harm you. Where with a phobia is it's excessive and it's unrealistic, and it is, the trigger is a specific thing, which is the trigger. So that's the difference between the two. So we're going to go through, I've got a list of 100 phobias, 100 best known phobias, and relax. You can read the PowerPoint, you can read your own. I'm not going to go through these phobias just because I cannot pronounce these phobias. I don't know. I've got a phobia about pronouncing phobias. That was a joke. Okay, so a phobia is a type of anxiety disorder defined by a persistent fear of an object or a situation. A persistent fear of an object and a situation. Can you name one object or situation that persons can have a phobia for?
Mice.
Mice.
Spiders.
Spiders. Snakes.
Enclosed spaces.
Enclosed spaces.
It doesn't have to be animals.
Yeah, enclosed spaces. Height. Those are the general ones. Water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even open spaces.
Open spaces.
Flying.
Flying. Great. You've named some of the most common phobias. Okay. So, specific phobias. There are specific phobias. Concern or fear about a certain situation, activity, animals or objects is not uncommon. Many people feel anxious when faced with a snake, a spider, heights, or traveling by plane. Those are the ones you named. Fear is an additional a rational response to situations that can pose a threat to our safety. So when we are in a situation, we show fear. Later on, in one of the further parts, we'll talk about the flight or fight situations that we get in: fight, flight, or freeze. There's a new one called freak. So fight, flight, freeze, or freak. That's how people respond in situations. So these are some people react to objects, activities, or situations. The phobic stimulus by imagining or irrationally exaggerating the danger. Their feelings of panic, fear, terror are completely out of proportion to the actual threat. So the thing is that with a phobia is their reaction is out of proportion. It is actually totally extreme. It's sort of, instead of when I said fight, they get to the freak. They freak out when they get into that situation. And it might be a normal thing for you and I. I have seen people totally freak out when they see a bee. Like there's a bee in the room. It's like they get uncontrollably, like almost like, you know, in the movies someone freaks out and you slap them. It's like sometimes you feel like that when people are, but it's a genuine fear that people have, and the reaction is extreme when it comes to phobia. So these types of excessive reactions may be indicative of a specific phobia. So if you know someone, or if you yourself freaks out about certain things, that might be a phobia. Okay, so don't be scared that you have a phobia, because there's a phobia of being scared that you have a phobia. So I don't want to create a phobia to you about your phobia. So people with specific phobias are often well aware what their fears are. So my fear is heights. I've got a fear of heights. When I get on a very high space, really, really high. My response is exaggerated because I see myself lying down on the floor. I get like this vision of me there. I fell, and then I freeze. I don't freak, I don't know, I just plain freeze. And then the people around me have to get me off this building. So that's the reaction I show to my phobia, which is heights. Other people have different other reactions. They say panic attacks is normal. They've got a pounding heart, choking, nausea, faintness, dizziness, chest pain, hot and cold flushes, and perspiration. So those are some of the symptoms or signs that when you are faced with this item which you have a phobia to. So have you ever experienced this? And I'm sure your answer would be yes, I have experienced this. So it's just basically being aware what happens when you are in the presence of that item. I almost feel the same in the presence of snakes. I do not like them. Right, what causes phobias? Genetic and environment. So, children who have a close relative with an anxiety disorder are at risk of developing a phobia. I get my fear of heights from my mother. My mom is scared of heights. All my growing up life, mom said she's scared of heights. My mother can never look down a high thing. I got that from mom. So, phobias can be taught, basically, by seeing the environment. And those of you that's done the environmental unit where we talk about environmental factors and things, that's one of them. Is phobias can come from a parent, or from a carer, or a sibling, or so on. And I think that's where we get to our assignment about the cricket. I think that's where the case study is about this kid is scared of a cricket. He freaks out when he's in the presence of a cricket. And one of the reasons why this kid is scared of crickets is actually, if you read the assessment, it's also a family thing. There are other people that's scared in his immediate vicinity, his immediate household, and that's adding to his fear. So just a clarification on that question. So children who have a close relative are at risk of developing this phobia. Distressing events such as nearly drowning can bring a phobia. Exposure to confined spaces, extreme heights, an animal or an insect bite can be a source of phobias. For example, if someone gets stuck in an elevator, especially a young kid gets stuck in the elevator, feeling totally helpless, and that can cause a phobia for small spaces. Or if you had a client who was in a car accident, and maybe they had to be cut out of the wreck of the car, being confined into this closed space can cause that phobia of scared of spaces. They need openness. People with ongoing medical conditions or health concerns often have phobias. There is a high incidence of people developing phobias after traumatic brain injuries. Substance abuse and depression are also connected to phobias. So substance abuse and depression. To be honest, just don't abuse any substances, because every single mental illness we've talked about, substance abuse can cause this. So just stay away from the substances and don't even use them. Whatever, don't even abuse them, just don't use them. Just stay away. Develop a phobia for using substances. But so there's some reasons for getting phobia. So substance abuse, depression, traumatic events, growing up with parents who are scared of stuff. I come from South Africa, we're scared of everything and everyone, and we just always see the worst coming at us. That's just how we grow up. And we've got a phobia about anything. So if someone walks towards us, he's going to attack me. That sort of stuff. That's how we are. So yeah. Who's at risk of phobias? Those at a genetic disposition to anxiety may be at high risk of developing phobia. So if your family suffered from anxiety, say mom, dad, someone, it can be genetic. as we talked about earlier, the environment that you grow up in, but also if you've got a parent or maybe siblings, it can be genetic in your gene pool that you guys have anxiety, and that can also lead to some phobias developing. Age, socioeconomic status, where you grow up. Gender may seem to be at risk factors. And again, more women have phobias than men. So yeah. For example, women are more likely to have animal phobias. Children or people with a low socioeconomic status are more likely to have social phobias. Men make up the majority of those with dentist and doctor phobias. So that's why men don't go to doctors, because we are scared of them. We have a phobia for doctors and dentists, although I think everyone's got a phobia for dentists. Yeah. Imagine a dentist dressed as a clown. That will freak some people out. So there are heaps and heaps of different phobias and different people being affected by phobias. What are the symptoms? So I'm just going to rush through these symptoms because you can all know them. Pounding or racing heart, shortness of breath, rapid speech. You just talk very loud or very fast, very rapidly. Dry mouth, upset stomach, nausea, elevated blood pressure, trembling and shaking, chest pain, tightness, choking, sensation, dizziness, lightheadedness, profuse sweating, or the sense of impending doom. A person with a phobia doesn't have to have panic attacks for acute diagnosis. So you don't necessarily have to have a panic attack to be diagnosed with a phobia. But these are just, in short, these are all the symptoms you get from really being scared, being really in a bad situation, being in danger. You get these ones. So imagine having a phobia and you experience this the whole time when you get into contact with something that's causing your phobia, or your stimulus that causes your phobia. And you might have a client that comes in and say, I have a phobia, like Trypophobia is the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. Arachnophobia is the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. So we can have, like, are you scared of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth? You have a fear for it, we name it. And you can freak out that it doesn't happen to you. So there are heaps and heaps of phobias. And it's sometimes interesting to just go through the list and see what, sometimes your clients will come up with the strangest things. And part of my trying to get you into the counselling mode is I want to expose you to this. And I don't want you to sit there in your counselling room and your client comes and says to you, I have a fear of peanut butter sticking to my mouth, and you burst out laughing. So you need to sit there still with your straight face, your counsellor face, and say, do you want to talk about it? Do not offer them peanut butter while you talk about it.
No peanut butter sandwiches in?
No peanut butter sandwiches.
Oh no, that's just cruel.
Treatment of phobias treatment for phobias can involve therapeutic techniques, medication, and a combination of both. Again, medication and therapeutic techniques. Counselling is some of the ways that we can actually deal with phobias. How do we respond to different stimulus that's coming our way? We're talking about it, we work through it. ACT, I found ACT is a very good technique because it works a lot of metaphors, being in the present, being now, but also we have to use CBT because CBT is like really confronting, almost a confrontational part of counselling. So CBT, cognitive behaviour therapy, is the most commonly used therapeutic one. As I say, I feel ACT can work perfectly too, but CBT is most commonly because of the ABC. The A, activating event, B, your belief system, C, your consequence. So let's say a person is scared of cats. So bloody freaks out when a cat walks in the room. The activating event will be the cat. The B, the belief system, is whatever she believes about the cat. The cat will attack her, the cat will bite her, the cat will jump on her, whatever the issue is with the cat. The consequence will be I'm freaking out in public whenever there's a cat close by. So there is a ABC in it, and that's how we then challenge her belief about what will happen if the cat comes to you. So it's going to be a process, and in the end we challenge by maybe having a cat present in the room or whatever, but it's going to take a few weeks of counselling to get to that place. The therapy focus on identifying and changing negative thoughts, dysfunctional beliefs, and negative reaction to fear. So we focus to change the thought pattern of what the client thinks about whatever the thing is that they have a phobia about. So medication, antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications are normally used in response to phobia. So it's good to have counselling and antidepressants, again, like with depression, like with anxiety, have the combination of the two of them, so that you can just deal with it also by talking about it, by getting it out, by have someone listen, working on strategies, setting goals, instead of just drinking your medication. Okay, now, the top 100 phobia list. I have highlighted a few because you can read the PowerPoint at home in the leisure of your home over the weekend, but I've just highlighted a few. The one is arachnophobia, the fear of spiders. 48% of women and 12% of men have arachnophobia. There's a movie about it called Arachnophobia. That's the only movie while you watch it you feel spiders crawling on you. Okay. Astrophobia, the fear of thunder and lightning. Then we have glossophobia, the fear of public speaking. So it's not just a normal I'm scared of speaking. This is like fear of, like a real fear, like freaking out fear of public speaking. We have aquaphobia, the fear of water. Unfortunately, if you've got aquaphobia, you in the end will have lots of people not being close to you because they'll have a fear of you, because you need to sometimes take a shower. So aquaphobia is you are just being afraid you're afraid of water, and you're afraid of being close to water. So you can only use dry shampoo for so long. Then xenophobia, the fear of the unknown, which means fearing anything or anyone that is strange or foreign. So the fear of the unknown. Then we have theophobia, the fear of God, or the irrational fear of religion. Interesting one. Okay, then that Gynophobia, the fear of the number 13.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. I know there's some cultures that they don't have a 13th floor. So you'll have, because I also at one stage worked in the theatre, and in our theatre complex it was like the Sydney Opera House. We didn't have a 13th floor. We have an 11th floor and a 14th floor. Just no 13.
And then there's a Friday. People have got a Friday 13 thing too.
Yeah, there's heaps of. We've got Photophobia, the fear of feet. Some people fear touching or looking at feet, even their own. Right. Gynophobia, that's one for men, the fear of women. Mocha, if you have unresolved mother issues. So it's like if you have unresolved mother issues, you might have gynophobia. Anti-diophobia is the fear of ducks. You have the feeling that somewhere a duck is watching you. So, also with this client, you will not say to them duck. All right, Partnerphobia, the fear of dolls. This phobia could well be caused by Chucky, the movie, and the little doll. So some people might have this fear. The origin of this fear might be because of that little creepy little doll. Okay, then we have Xenophobia, the fear of animals, which is both harmful and harmless animals. So they just, and I think this is one that actually is quite often with children. Is just scared of all sorts of animals. Some kids can go to any animal, and some kids just freak out when they get close to animals. Moussophobia, the fear of mice.
Moose.
Some people find mice cute, but phobics don't. Okay, so moussophobia is not like. Cacomorphobia, the fear of fat people. And this is induced by media and affects some anorexics or bulimics. So it's a fear of, that's part of, so anorexics or bulimics actually have an issue with this one. Chronophobia, the fear of the future, persistent fear of what is to come. So it's also linked to the one we had earlier by the fear of the unknown. So if you don't know what's happening, what's going to happen in the future, I don't know what's going to happen, so that freak out a bit. Alexophobia, the fear of opinions, being afraid of hearing what others are thinking of you. So that's a new, or that's a phobia, what others think of you. I think this one is also linked to the new phobia, the social media type of phobias, where people, especially under teenagers, they fear the fact that people don't like their Instagram photos or their Facebook photos. So if they don't get enough likes on the photo, they're actually going to some sort of freak out stage. So it's a genuine fear. Photophobia, the fear of light caused by something medical or traumatic. Gynophobia, the fear of zombies, being afraid that zombies will attack you and turn you into them. So there are some people that are scared of that one. And Trypophobia, the fear of being buried alive by mistake or waking up in a coffin underground.
Oh yeah. I think most people have that one.
Yeah, so that's another phobia. So yeah. So there's I can give you the PowerPoint and you can leisurely go through all the list of all the different phobias there are. I've also made a list of the top 10 most funny phobias. It's hard to believe, but Photophobia, believe that something, it's really a phobia of phobias. If you imagine to get through this list though, you're probably in the clear of this one. So if you're scared of phobias, you have photophobia. So none of you obviously have it because you could have sit here with me listening about the different phobias. So you're fine. You can tick off that you do not have this phobia. We also have Partnerphobia, fear, the condition of fearing everything, and it's often described as constantly dreading some vague and persistent unknown evil. So it's like you just fear everything, and something's going to happen to you, something evil's going to happen to you, something's going to attack you. They're just plain scared of everything. So then we have Amnaphobia, which is the fear of belly buttons. So probably you don't care because belly buttons don't terrify you, but this is actually a fear that you fear belly buttons. So you don't like to touch someone else's belly button, you don't want them to touch your belly button. That's like a fear. Okay, then Partnerphobia is the fear of, actually it's like a fear of swallowing and cannot swallow, and especially sometimes it's a worry that people will have this, that they're in a public place, not in a restaurant, they're eating and they can't swallow. So it's like a real fear. It's also They also think there's something wrong with them. They might have some sort of bad disease, cancer, or whatever, the throat they can't swallow. So it's like always a fear that they won't be able to swallow. Right, 5. Chronophobia is the fear of time passing. So yeah, you mostly get that with people, with the elderly or prison inmates. About time passing. I normally got it in the math class. I always felt that time's not passing when I'm sitting in the math class. Then we have Lophobia is a phobia that involves running, being chased by timber wolves around a kitchen table while wearing socks on a new waxed floor.
That's real?
Yes.
That can't be real.
So, first coined in the Far Side comic strip, this joke phobia has become somewhat of a pop culture phenomenon. So this is like you're scared that a wolf will chase you around your kitchen table when you're wearing socks and the floor is waxed.
Nice small face.
Yes. But don't be scared of feet then. Alright. Trypophobia. It is a phobia of that. Looking at this picture gives you chills, then you may be a trypophobic, or someone scared of clustered holes usually found in various biological organisms. So it's like seeds and stuff that's got holes clustered together. So if you go to the beach and you get to a rock and it's got lots of holes in it, that's sort of phobia. That's what this phobia is. It's a lot of holes clustered together.
My daughter's got this phobia.
Oh yeah?
And actually, it's okay when it's in nature, but when they have those pictures on Facebook and they have it on your hand or on your scalp and stuff, and they say use this kind of shampoo because this creates this. And so that you can't look at anything with clustered holes.
Oh, okay. So, and then we have Xenophobia. Describes walking downstairs. So these people are scared of walking downstairs or walking down inclines. So that's Xenophobia. Yeah. Counselling is people that are scared to cross bridges. I once picked up a lady, my wife and I were driving, this oldest lady asked us if we can take her home because she lives on the other side of the bridge and she can't walk across the bridge. It's okay for her to drive over the bridge because she'll just close her eyes, but she cannot walk over the bridge. So we never knew it's actually a real phobia. I experienced this that night with this lady because she had a real issue because someone had to pick her up and they never showed up and she didn't know how to get home because she couldn't cross the bridge.
So how does she drive across?
She doesn't drive.
She wouldn't be able to, she'd have to go.
She was dropped off, but with us in the car, she sat in the back seat and she closed her eyes.
So she doesn't drive because she's got to drive across the bridge.
She doesn't drive at all.
She don't walk across the
So she was driving with someone, or they dropped her off to the shops and they were supposed to pick her up at a specific time, they never came. And she had an issue, she didn't know how to get back because she was then stuck on the other side of the bridge.
So it's only
And when I took her,
fine with you driving, but not.
she's fine with me driving as long as we tell her we're going to cross the bridge and she closed her eyes.
So you wouldn't think half these phobias exist?
Yeah. The thing with the bridge we're talking about, I'm talking about a very small little bridge. I'm not talking about a bridge like the Gateway Bridge or something.
Yeah.
I'm talking about it like the little ones on the highway just crossing the Albert River, those sort of bridges.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like the bridge at Sydney or Story Bridge or anything like that. I'm talking just about a normal little bridge.
So how did you get, even a lot of these phobias, how? Not all of them are genetic.
Not all. Some of the traumatic experiences.
Yeah.
Something is maybe something they saw. Maybe you saw a TV program, bridge falling or whatever, and suddenly this fear occurs. There's something triggers it. This one is the Xenophobia, which some people might, when you're indecisive, so you're scared you can't make a decision. And I think we get this a lot, that people struggle to make decisions. And I find it a lot now amongst young people. Young people struggle to make decisions. If you take your kids, I've got 2 kids, and one of them, if I take him to the shop and say, buy any chocolate that's this price, he can't make a decision. It's easier for me if I say to him, do you want that one or that one? If I give him 2 to choose from, he can choose. But if there's like a whole range, he's got no idea. He's like stand there. Sometimes I say, okay, fine, I'm going to choose for you now. And he just cannot make decisions. So it's actually a real phobia, is that people struggle to make decisions. The only thing about fear is fear itself. And then I've got this quote by Nelson Mandela. I've learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. So,
That's a nice one.
so that's what it's like. And we as counselors, our role is actually not to feed our clients' fears. We are there to help them to overcome. So don't keep on saying, oh, that's okay, that's fine, that's fine. Rather say, what can we do? How can we solve this? What do you want to do? So that's why, just be aware that there are so many phobias out there. And everyone you work with will come with something different. And some days you'll say, I've never heard that before. The important part is non-judgmental, loving, caring, show empathy, listening skills, and just be there. Just be there for your clients.
That's what counselling's about, isn't it? We're
That's what
helpers.
counseling is about. Being there. Journey with your client. Being there. Being like on a pilgrimage with your client and just walk with them.
Guide them.